Sim racers, welcome to the eRacing Association, where you have the chance to win $5,000 in one of the best tournaments in all of sim racing. Green flag in the air.
Are you ready to reach the next level of sim racing? The eRacing Association's epic Omega Cup Series lets you win big.
Is he gonna throw the block?
Racing with ERA lets you compete for huge cash prizes, get exclusive merch, exclusive sim hardware pricing, and potentially turn your virtual dreams into reality. Feel the rush as you race door to door against sim racers just like yourself, all from the comfort of your own home.
Straight away, they're an idiot. Oh, they're wrecking! They're wrecking!
Join now to get your membership and experience all of the excitement that the eRacing Association has to offer at www.eragaming.gg.
Celebration, he hangs on.
It's Dystany Spurlock, and thank you for joining in at Drafting the Circuit.
Hey guys, I'm Indian Next champion Dennis Hauger, and you're watching Drafting the Circuits.
Alex Palou has been given a drive-through penalty for striking the tyre of another driver on pit lane. We don't see this driver make mistakes often. We've seen a couple this season, but that is very unlike the driver of the 10 car.
I think this is a good call. Yes, Kyle Kirkwood's coming down the lane, but I don't think that Alex Palou was really forced anywhere. He just cut it way too close.
Drive-through penalty once it goes green.
He was having to cut it a little bit tight because there was a car in the fast lane. He was trying to stay in the transition lane. Still on him, obviously.
Disadvantaged Schumacher.
Oh, massively.
So this is going to be a big deal from a championship standpoint with Alex Palou. And big leader coming in.
And critically, as we heard on that radio, he has to take it under green. Early, he's making his strategy work as Palou stops. And there's a problem.
Wheel left's not on.
The left front is not on. The wheel nut won't tighten. They finally get it on.
Clear.
And a day that had already looked difficult for Alex Palou is starting to look impossible, because there's Kyle Kirkwood, and Alex Palou goes a lap down.
Wow. Championship implications as they run right now. Alex Palou would have lost 43 points in the championship battle, and it'll be very, very difficult for him to claw it back now.
Oh, we got a yellow.
We got a yellow, a full course
There's
yellow.
Palou.
Oh my goodness, it's the championship leader Palou, and we talk about the mistakes that he has made, or that the team has made today. We don't often see multiple mistakes in an entire season. We've seen 3 in one afternoon.
So let's see, this is going into turn 3.
Oh.
Did he clip it?
I think the right rear did. I don't think the right front got it. I think he got it with the right rear. But wait a second, the left rear was already damaged.
He hit something, he was bouncing around.
Oh, yeah, the left rear was already broken. Maybe that was from turn 2?
2. Cassidy Tower is down there at Andretti. Can't believe what she's seeing. I don't think we can believe what we're seeing.
Alex, you had a lot of things going on. I guess essentially 3 things, 2 on pit lane and then on the track. What do you make of this day? Anything you could have done differently?
Yeah, a lot. We could have done a lot differently. I mean, it hurts, man. It hurts. It was one of those races that I really want to do very good. I wanted to get that win, so it kind of hurts a lot that we just had this bad of a day. But it's okay. Things happen. I'm at least kind of happy that everything happened at the same day instead of spreading out throughout different races. But yeah, we had some issues in pit lane. One my fault, one out of my control, something on the track that then I kind of bump a little bit the wall, and 20 laps after the rear toe link broke. That's why we spun. So yeah, not a good day, but it's all right. Things happen.
Still plus 91 though in the championship, looking for number 4 in a row and 5 in 6 years.
The movie, news, television promos and trailers used in this production are protected by the Fair Use Act. Section 107 of the Copyright Act. 1. The purpose and character of the use. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion taken. And 4. The effect of the use on the potential market. Thank you.
Start your
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Drafting the Circuits, brought to you by Sinister One Productions. My name is Frank Santoroski. I'll be your host for the next hour as we talk about this past weekend racing and preview next week. Joining me in the studio, Jessica Chezrony and Leroy Kleimola. How we doing today?
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. Richard Youden. Richard's still on assignment. Richard, as a matter of fact, is in Quebec, and he actually found a pretty nifty museum that had a lot of Gilles Villeneuve stuff, and he was sending me pictures today. So, Richard, we're glad you're having a good time. We do miss you, but like anything else, the world has to go on without you, buddy. So, first off, I want to thank our sponsors, the eRacing Association, and also want to thank the film, the Kaiser, coming out in October. And thanks to Sinister One Productions and our fine producer, Mr. Keith Hayes. But let's get to the racing this weekend. Now, we had the Grand Prix in Washington, D.C., which is an event that we were both anticipating this and dreading this in equal amounts all year long. I mean, we early on predicted it would be a total shit show.
Sure did.
We sure did, yep. And I really was afraid that this would be like the UFC thing, or the ballroom, or the reflecting pool, or the 4th of July bullshit. I thought this was going to be something that would have Trump's hands all over it. But in the end, at least from watching on television, it didn't. It seemed to really just focus on the race and focus on, DC and the DC landmarks with, other than having him wave the green flag when he was nowhere near the cars, which is interesting. I think NASCAR did that when they had a Cookie Monster wave the flag. Remember that?
A little bit different because, Cookie Monster doesn't have legs, presumably.
Yeah,
the president of the United States does. But yeah, I mean, they had to put him behind, it was behind bulletproof glass. Like there was no way they could put him in the flag stand. He wouldn't have been able to climb up there anyway. So, yeah.
Anyway, so I want to get into talking to the race here in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the fan experience, because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I've heard some really good stuff. Also heard that there were not enough grandstand seats, or they ran out of food before lunchtime, ran out of water. Now, Leroy, you were there. You were in DC all weekend.
Yes, I was.
So I'd like you to go ahead and talk about the fan experience, and then we'll get into talking about the race itself.
Yeah, so there was quite an experience from the fan standpoint. Saturday was awesome. Saturday was great. There was plenty of great things that we got to do as far as just being able to go, and there wasn't. I think the weather kind of kept a lot of people away, especially during the first. We kept waiting for it to rain, and it never did, which was awesome. It kind of just it felt like it was going to rain, and never did, and so the lines weren't ridiculously long, which helped. It really kind of made things run a whole lot smoother, and I was able to get into the merch stand right away, get a bunch of stuff. And for that part, it went really, really smoothly. They had the first practice at 9 a.m. And 30 minutes in, I said, you know what? I better get over into the autograph line. Boy, I waited too long. I waited too long. That was already a disaster. And the problem is I missed it. They kept having people cut. There was no rhyme or reason to it. None of the workers knew what was going on. So I missed all the autograph line, despite being in the window in that little, you're going to be in plenty of time to, because they count number of people, but there was all kinds of people.
Were you on the good side of the autograph thing or the not so good side?
I was on the not so good. I was on the strike side, and there was plenty of conversation about this, about how the Stars side, they picked and chose who went in the Stars side. I found that out that the Stars side was picked and handpicked. I heard that rumor also over the weekend that the Stars side was handpicked who went over there, so that way, because there was so few people, that because we didn't know a single person that was in the Stars side. Even on Twitter, we were asking around to see if anybody knew anybody that was on the Stars side, and I still don't know a single person that was in the Stars section, despite seeing that and I have a picture of that grandstand full, but I don't know a single person that was over there. They did a really, really good job with the layout. The layout was fantastic. They had a hospitality tent I'm a veteran, so I was able to go into the Legion area for the hospitality tent. The food was, the food was well priced for DC. I mean, it was standard, it would be the same at Indy. The prices were the exact same.
I saw somebody had posted some of the prices there. I thought the beverage prices were a bit high. But the food prices seem reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, beer was $14 and water was $4.50, which was insane.
$14 is a bit high for beer.
And they started running out towards the afternoon, and that was kind of an issue as well. Then Sunday came. So you're right. Grandstand wise, they did not have enough grandstands. Now, I had heard something that said when DC holds events, they only expect 40 to 50% of the people to show up. I don't know if that's what they expected for this IndyCar event. That was not the case. We got there 45 minutes before gates opened, and there was already 200 people in front of me in line waiting to get in before the gates opened.
I can see how they might have expected that, though, with the tickets being free, right? Like, people could have requested them and then ended up not making the plan to go. And since they weren't transferable, like, that was, really tricky to deal with. So I can see how they might have thought that it, wouldn't really be as full as what they gave out, but interesting.
So
the interesting thing is they gave out 100,000 tickets, right? But I heard the number 215,000 bounced around. I'm like, okay, I'm assuming maybe that's the weekend attendance, but if there were 215,000 people there on Sunday, no wonder they ran out of food.
Weekend attendance.
You know what I mean? There's got to be a weekend number, yeah.
We went into gate 6, which was by, and I'm going to mess up my turns because, again, I still have yet to see the race on TV. I usually watch the race afterwards, especially for a street race. I still have not seen the race yet as far as, like, to watch it because it's such a different event, especially for street races. But the little chicane right before the straightaway, we were right in front of where Malukas and Stingray got caught up. So right before that little chicane, right before they go on the straightaway, that's where we were. So we raced in there and we were able to find 2 seats up in the grandstand. When we got into the grandstand, for the first warm-up, they were letting people go in and out. All you had to do is let the security guard know, like, hey, we're sitting up here, let us back in. When the warm-up ended, that was it. They did not, if you got up, you weren't allowed back into the grandstand. And people were losing their mind over the fact that you weren't allowed back into the grandstand. Then they started giving out wristbands. Well, they ran out of wristbands, and it was kind of a cluster as far as people just kind of going a little bit insane with what was going on with it. So there was all kinds of weird stuff going on with it. There was way more people that I think and not enough trained workers. And maybe this is a first course jitters. I had never been to a first course that was ran before.
Yeah.
And so maybe that was something. The track itself was fantastic. They didn't have any issues with the track, but there were definitely a lot of workers that did not know what was going on, a lot of inexperienced people. They did not have enough volunteers that showed up for the race. So a lot of volunteers were actually being tasked to do different jobs than what they were actually supposed to be doing throughout the race as well. And so it ended up, I want to say it ended up being a whole lot better, I would imagine, than what they thought. As far as seeing Trump, seeing the president, things like that, Frank, you were 100% correct. When I got to the race, there was one giant poster of him up on one of the federal buildings that I saw. And then there was a picture of an INDYCAR that said, and I forget what it says, freedom doesn't ring, it revs, or something like that.
Yeah,
and
that was the tagline they were going with.
Race brought to you by President Trump and Senator Duffy. Okay. That was the only two things that I saw. But if you stayed away from social media, that was the end. And he came and they came by on their and they drove and they did a lap.
Oh yeah,
they did a lap before. But otherwise than that, I felt they did a fairly decent job of not making it all about him. But there was a presence. Obviously, it is DC. But yeah, it was just one of those things where, from a racing standpoint, other than that, I felt like it really felt like an IndyCar race. IndyCar did not embarrass themselves as much as I was worried that they were going to embarrass themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, the amount of fans that were there who had no idea what was going on was way more than what we see at a normal IndyCar event.
Yeah.
And Jess, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know, I ran into a few.
You give away free tickets to people that are curiosity seekers. Well, let me go see what this is all about. And they don't know the sport like we do.
Right. Absolutely.
And I love talking to people like that because I can answer all their questions. I did.
I answered a lot.
Yeah.
But IndyCar has a huge chance now. 3.2 million people watch this event on TV.
Yes.
They have a huge chance now with this race in Milwaukee to build on this a little bit and hopefully be able to kind of use this momentum a little bit. I know we've only got two real weekends left of the season, but let's just put it this way. It could have been way worse than what it was.
Well,
we all know that. We all know that
is what you might expect. Volunteers that really don't know what they're doing. I mean, you get to the 500 and you've got the yellow shirts there who've been doing this
who've been there for
20,
years.
30 years, and they just know the drill. And I've volunteered at Kentucky Speedway before, and there's no training. There's no, this is your area. This is what you do. But people will come because you've got that uniform on, ask you shit that the one year in Kentucky, I was like, I knew there's two infield tunnels, right? I kept sending people down to turn 3, but I didn't realize there was another tunnel over here a whole lot closer. So, obviously they got to the infield either way. But so let's talk about the race a little bit, Jessica.
Yeah.
Because now you picked Kyle Kirkwood for the race.
I did.
And Kyle Kirkwood came through for you. I mean, Kyle Kirkwood had a very kind of Alex Palou kind of day, while Alex Palou had a very Stingray kind of day. So.
Woo, that's harsh.
I've been waiting since Sunday to say that on the air. Jess, what were your impressions of the race? Because I'll tell you that I enjoyed it. I did very much.
Yeah, I think, it was interesting going into it because mathematically, Palou did have the opportunity to clinch the championship in DC. And I think, obviously we want to see that go down to the final race. It probably isn't going to, but it would have been, I think, unfortunate to have it sealed with 3 races, 2 full weekends left to go. But that is very much not what happened. Instead, Palou actually leaves the weekend having lost ground to
42
Kirkwood.
points to be exact, I believe.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen every weekend. The lead is now down to 91 points, 3 races remaining. I think I read there's like 162 points up for grabs total over the remaining weekend. So, definitely mathematically still in play. I think for Kirkwood, this is exactly what he needed to have happen. You could hardly hope for any better, right? He won. He didn't get the point for the pole, but Palou finished down in 20th. Like, that is as good as it could get for him to cut into that lead. So, maybe the championship is still in play. A couple of ovals remaining. Palou, Kirkwood aren't really the guys that you think of that are maybe going to win oval races. So
Kirkwood won at Gateway last year.
He did do that, and of course Palou's won the 500. But again,
Palou won in Nashville this year.
They're not the first ones that you think of.
No, they're not. They're not New Garden, right?
Yeah, but I think
they're not. They're no Connor
was...
Daly.
Richard's gone, so you just had to do it. You just couldn't. You just couldn't help yourself. It just had to be
that
done.
Connor Daly's a good oval driver?
Yeah. You said it. You said it with a tone.
Did I?
I saw him in DC, and he stopped and talked to us for 5 minutes about the track, and he was excited about how fast the DC track was. And then he goes, "Guys, I would talk to you until noon, but I am late for an interview." And then he took off running, and it was so funny to see this guy take off and just in a dead sprint take off running.
He drove the 2-seater. He actually, and I don't think this was said during the broadcast, but he was actually driving the fastest seat in sports that Commander Wiseman, that the astronaut, was in, that they showed on TV. So that was Connor driving that. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. He also got a chance to drive his little brother, Carter, around the track in the 2-seater.
Oh, cool.
Sweet. Yeah. Anyway, the race. This ended up being a really long race. This was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I think, again, I think it all really played into Kirkwood's hands. When you think of a long race like that and sort of an endurance racing mindset, right? Which Kyle Kirkwood, races in IMSA and endurance races. Sort of that, he took the lead right at the beginning, but from that point forward, right, it was damage control. It was, staying clean, hitting your marks, just making sure that nothing goes wrong and being there at the end. And I think that's he
was absolutely brilliant getting through traffic.
It was perfect.
Yeah, he was. I mean, like I said, it was a great day for Kirkwood.
It really was. And he got a photo with a bald eagle at the end of the day. So, you can't really beat that with a stick.
He said he was so excited he did not have to lift the trophy above his head because he was so sore. His upper body was so sore after that race was done that if he would have had to, he said he could barely lift the champagne bottle up to be able to drink the champagne at the end there of how sore he was.
I have a really funny slow motion video of him at Gateway last year when he won there, lifting the trophy. And I mean, it was a miraculous save. It was almost gone. And he clawed her back. It was almost as impressive as winning his first oval. It was really quite something. I was also impressed, as I frequently am, with Christian Lundgaard. Started 9th, and on a track where, this wasn't Markham. Let's call a spade a spade. There was not a ton of action. There were not a ton of passing zones, passing abilities. But Christian Lundgaard started 9th, finished 2nd. Unbelievable day. Now sits 3rd in the championship after Mr. Malukas. You alluded to it, Leroy. It broke my heart yet again.
There were some real winners this weekend. There were some real winners, Jess, and there were some real losers this weekend as well. I was really impressed with Dixon. He started 14th and finished 7th, despite not having any real sim time at all coming into that track. Siegel had a great race. Siegel finished 6th. Siegel was awesome. But yes, David Malukas and McLaughlin, both. Just, I think the pressure is just getting to both those guys, and two guys that have consistently been at the top and just have not been able to finish races. And man, I tell you what, I have not been in front of a lot of accidents. That was one of the loudest sounds I've ever heard in my life
on the broadcast, that it was like right below their booth, and they reacted to the noise before they saw what had happened.
When he got out of the car, the sigh of relief from everybody by and was like, is he okay? Like when they drove by, like the drivers were all checking on him because of how hard of a hit he had. And I thought Louis Foster's hit was harder the last week at Markham, but it was so loud, the impact that he had in that wall. And then Stingray hits him just a couple of seconds later because he had nowhere to go. And it was brutal.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, though. I think his wrist is still really,
I don't know
really
what is going
bothering
on
him
there. You mentioned, the pressure, right? And I think it's worth mentioning, right? We're at this point of the season. We're at, 3 races remaining. Like, we've had a run of races here at the end. Like, we continue to see like really uncharacteristic mistakes from Mr. Perfect Palou and the 10 team even, right? Like, Sunday was a goddamn mess for them. Like, he had a series of unfortunate events, which he said later in an interview, he was really glad to like get them all out of the way in one day so that hopefully the rest of the season will be cool. Like, we got all the bad juju out now. He had a pit stop where he hit Schumacher's waiting tire on the way out of his pit box, resulted in a drive-through penalty. His next pit stop, very messy on the crew. He was, sent before all of the tires were attached, had to pull back, mess. Then he had, just an on-track mistake, contact with the wall, broken toe link. I think he finished 3 laps down. Like, it's just, well, we say it's uncharacteristic, but I also feel like we've been saying that more this season. So maybe it is becoming characteristic, but I don't know, like, have we just reached this point of the season where like folks are getting a little tired, the concentration is slipping a little bit, like mistakes are easier to make? And I think we saw that with Malukas. I mean, his interview, and Leroy, you haven't seen it yet probably, but his interview
I haven't
after the race was just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, you could tell that he's just, it's all on him, and the weight of the world is on his shoulders. Yeah, saying he doesn't know what's been going on with him lately, but he needs to reset and refocus before Milwaukee because he's just not where he expects to be performance-wise, like not putting it on the team, but very much on him. And now, I think for him, like some of that may be the pressure to get a win yet this season. But, with Palou, like, are we just at that point of the season where like the cracks are beginning to show even for those drivers and those teams that don't usually show them?
Frank, I'm really interested in your thoughts on this, but I'll say this about Palou. I think Palou has gotten extremely lucky on a lot of these races, more than what a normal driver gets as far as the year goes. So I just think this was one of those races where he just did not get the breaks that he normally gets. And I'll tell you, the crowd reactions when he got they were significant. There was a lot of cheers when they announced that. It is when you have listen, we are seeing greatness whether you like it or not. You are seeing greatness in Palou whether you like it or not with what he's been doing on the track as far as what he's been able to do. But I was happy to see them penalize him because we've seen stuff before and I'll say it, where Golden Boy has gotten away with stuff that other drivers
Somebody
have
else
not.
wouldn't. Yeah.
Other drivers have not. And so I was very kind of happy to see him get a penalty for that. I was not happy to see him get caught up in some of the other stuff that we have, because let's face it, we want our top guys to race well. And we want our people to beat them when they're at their best. And so,
something else that I was thinking too, and I don't know, this is a possibility, right? The points lead that he has at this point, like, is it possible that the team is sort of taking advantage of that, right? To push or to experiment in ways that they wouldn't normally, right? Like, I don't know, maybe they're trying different things setup wise, like maybe they're experimenting with new choreography in the pits, right? Like, could that lead to some of those mistakes, right? Like, is Palou just being
only putting 3 tires on instead of 4?
Well, no, but like they could be experimenting with choreography, right? I think that was something that came out after the 500, right? Is that Jimmy Johnson's team or whoever was there was doing like a different pit stop choreography, and some of the other teams were like, "Oh, could we do that?" So I don't know. Maybe they're switching crew members around. Like maybe Palou is being more aggressive or like trying to find the limits in a way that he wouldn't if he was really, needing to focus on points. And the reason I bring this up, I overheard Barry Wanzer one time at Gateway. He was talking to Kevin Lee, and I walked up sort of mid-conversation, but what I heard was something to the effect of, if we're going to be a winning team, we're going to compete like a winning team. We're never going to, rest on our laurels. We're never going to just coast, because that's not what winning teams do. And so, I don't know. I just think maybe it's worth considering that, like, with the comfortable points position that they're in, has that maybe given them the freedom and, like, the confidence even to start thinking about next year.
I mean, we've seen that a lot in NASCAR when they had the win and you're in. So once you win a race, you're in the chase, so you can use the next several races to try things out.
Yeah.
Which, but if you recall, it wasn't more than 2-3 years ago where Palou had a pretty handy lead, and then he had like 2 kind of crap races in a row, and Will Power caught right up to him.
Yeah.
And I want to say Will was actually leading the points, and then Will had he spun at Iowa, and then at Nashville.
Yeah.
One of them was Gateway.
Was it Gateway? He spin at Gateway?
Was where it all really went to shit.
And then in Nashville, he had the seatbelts were loose. He had to pull in lap 1 and lost two laps right off the bat.
Yeah.
So Palou, but that easily could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Will Power easily could have won that championship.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Which is a good segue to the next thing I want to talk about. Will Power, 3 podiums in a row. You're talking Andretti.
Andretti's good.
Swept all 3 new courses this year. I dare say that when it comes to these sort of courses, Andretti is becoming the team to beat.
Yeah.
And I said the team, they're not the guy. Palou's still the guy to beat, right? But Andretti as a team, all 3 of their guys have been on the podium. Now, if you look at Ganassi, Dixon's not digging up any trees this year. Simpson is improving, but he's not there yet. But as an overall team, Andretti looks about as solid as they can be.
I think, didn't Ericsson finish 4th?
He was right up there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just 1 step off the podium. I mean, it's incredibly impressive. The turnaround, right? Because at the beginning of the season, this team did not look like this.
Will couldn't get out of a practice session without hitting the wall. Well, he still can. He's still starting in the back, but at least on race day, he's there's 3 times in a row 3rd place. So
yeah.
He was stopping and talking to a lot of, and this is not Will Power from 2025 and 2024.
Yeah.
This is not, he is happy. I don't know what, and listen, I know he went through a lot of personal stuff. He was going through the stuff with his wife. He was going through a lot of health stuff and issues with Penske and a lot of stuff going on there, and maybe a new leaf, maybe a new, really, really helped him. But he is having fun.
Yeah.
And
he said
it
that.
is.
He said
it
this
is
team
the
is so much
night
fun.
night and day different. He's participating in social media videos. I mean, my goodness, I don't know where this guy came from, but I enjoy this willpower. Like this is it's been night and day difference.
And clearly it benefits his driving too. You know, I think I think most people would admit to that, right? That like if you take the pressure off a little bit and you're enjoying what you're doing, like all of a sudden all of the things start to become a little bit easier. So yeah, I mean, Frank, I know you're a big Will Power fan, so it's been really nice to see him have this turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But again,
go ahead.
I just wonder if Scott saw that too. You know, we everyone was wondering why Scott's leaving Chip Ganassi, you know, after all these years, and you just wonder if Scott saw Will having fun being at a new team and doing all that, and you just wonder if that was part of and obviously I think there's a lot of factors that went into that decision, but you just wonder
I think Scott saw a paycheck.
Yeah, that could be too.
Bums me out, but
yeah.
Hey.
At the end of the day, that's the reason I keep coming back to. It's bizarre situation. I also wanted to mention Marcus Armstrong. What on earth? Dude is like, what has happened the last two races? He is usually like so level-headed and you know, smart and like best worst finish, right? And like
2 weeks in a row.
My God. Just yikes.
Somebody needs to pull him aside and put him in timeout for a little
that
bit.
Move. But I will say, my favorite thing I think that came out of this entire race was Rinus VK's interview immediately following.
What happened?
Being taken out. So, you know, Marcus Armstrong just had this dive bomb down into, he ended up hitting Rasmussen and then Rasmussen went into VK and that's what took VK out of the race.
He said something along the lines of Rasmussen's going to crash or...
Yep. Either he's going to, if you're racing around Rasmussen, either he's going to crash or you are. Yep. I loved that because first of all, Rinus is usually very smart and calculated about what he says. So I loved seeing the frustration and just like the honesty come out. But also I love knowing that like that is something that the other drivers think about. That like, I don't want to race around this jackass because either he's taking himself out or he's taking me with him. Like, I don't want to. I love that. They
don't call him the king of sketch for nothing.
No, I loved it. I LOL'd.
I talked to one of Santino's crew members at the airport while I was waiting to fly back to St. Louis. He said that Santino tried to take his 6th grid spot penalty in Milwaukee, and INDYCAR was like, absolutely not. You're taking it at DC.
Interesting.
So, because it would be easier for him to get the laps back.
Yeah.
It would be easier for him to get the places back in Milwaukee than it would be for him to get the places back. And then he had all the ECU troubles. He said they hit the bump and the steering wheel pretty much the plug came right out. And so when they tried to get it back in, it just had all kinds of problems. And so they've had a frustrating year this year. And I feel bad for Ferrucci's team because they haven't raced that great, but they've ran into all kinds of just problems as well this year on top of their frustrations as well. So
I feel like both those guys, Santino and his teammate Colette, I think they're going to have a good weekend in Milwaukee. I really feel that because they've got a pretty darn good oval program.
For Colette, I would love to see a result.
Colette could finish a race. Holy shit!
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know he's been so impressive, but not
for 80%.
Not at the right time.
Of the race. 80% of the race, he's been great.
Yeah.
All right, so we did mention the TV ratings with 3.2 million, which is the highest non-Indy 500 race since sometime prior to 2008.
Yeah.
They didn't say exactly when. They said since before the reunification.
I heard Michigan 95. That's what I heard. Now, take that for a grain of salt.
That's
that
wild.
could be right.
I have not checked it to figure out whether or not that's accurate or not. But a few people that I talked to, source wise,
95 was before
Michigan
the
of
split.
95. Yes,
Yeah, that was before the split.
Wow.
So
yes,
That's crazy. That is a huge number.
who won Michigan in 95?
Michael. I'm guessing.
Do you know, Frank? You can't possibly know that.
If I thought about it long and hard enough, I probably could come up with it.
What a
You know,
random.
95. You know, it wouldn't. If I said that Adrian Fernandez won, I have a pretty good chance of being right.
I'm gonna find
I don't know.
it.
So somebody can look it up. But
I'm looking.
Jess is on the case.
I'm trying.
Okay.
What on earth? Parker Johnston, Scott Pruitt.
Scott Pruitt. Oh, okay.
Adrian Fernandez finished third.
Hey, hey.
And Al Jr. there in the middle.
Little Al. Little Al
Pole
was there.
position
Little
and
Al was there.
fastest
The Freedom 250.
Yeah.
I saw him there. He was there with some of the outreach folks he worked with, David Hamilton and Kingdom Racing and those folks there, and Stingray, you know, the big dial thumpers.
I'm
there
still
in
stuck on the
DC.
1995 Michigan race. Pole position and fastest lap went to a gentleman by the name of Parker Johnstone with CompTech Racing.
Yep, Parker Johnstone, yeah.
The hell?
Jess is on a rabbit hole. We're never going to see her again tonight.
Yeah,
I remember Parker Johnstone. Yeah, I don't know that he ever actually won a race, but yeah, I remember him. He was around.
If that's on the YouTubes, I know what I'll be watching.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to fall asleep tonight.
All
Anyways.
right, so pick wise, you got Kirkwood for DC. So who do you like from Milwaukee? We got two races in Milwaukee, and now we've discussed this as a group. No, we didn't. Jessica and I discussed it, and we left everybody else out of the discussion.
They could have chimed in if they wanted.
That you'd have to you pick two different drivers, and we can't do duplicates, right? So, you know, so by the time I had last pick, by the time I got to pick, there's 6 drivers already crossed off.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
So you pick your 2 drivers, and if they win either race, you get a point. But you're limited to 1 point per race, or 1 point per pick. So if somebody sweeps.
When David Malukas
sweeps and win both races,
I still only get 1 point.
You still only get 1, unless you would have picked Malukas to sweep.
I thought about that after we came to the conclusion that we did. I thought, well, wait, what if I wanted to spend both of my picks on Malukas?
You certainly could have done that.
Well, I didn't. I took Malukas and Will Power because that would be cool.
Okay, now Leroy, you had the first pick.
I did.
Because you're the new guy, you get the new guy benefit. So.
Yep, and I went with Newgarden for race 1, and I'm 99% sure I picked Palou for race 2, I think, if I remember right. Newgarden, he's been so good at ovals. I just don't see any other situation where he just does not come in there. Even with his foot problems, I still think he's gonna be able to pick up a win there, and Palou's gonna clean up on Sunday. He's made too many mistakes in the last couple of weeks that Barry's going to be like, all right, let's clean this up. You got this. Let's go. Pick it up. So those are my picks for the weekend.
All right. Now Richard picked Scott McLaughlin for race 1, and again, interchangeably. And his other pick for Milwaukee was Scott Dixon.
Pair of Scotts.
Dixon needs to put a win on the board this year to keep his record.
Oh, I would love it. I would love both those drivers to pick up a win.
All right. And I took Award and Kirkwood. So Kirkwood, because he's got that momentum on his side, and Award's pretty solid on ovals, and he's had a rough year, despite he won him in Ohio, but otherwise he he really hasn't been digging up trees this year. So plus you guys took all the good picks, so we got the leftovers. All right, so let's award fans will be mad at me, so I got the leftovers. But I picked Pato.
He could use a
Pato
result.
for
He
Milwaukee.
could definitely use a result.
All right.
He hasn't even really had a bad year. It's just been I think there's been a lot of drive. Yes, a quiet year where I think there's been a lot of drivers that just have not put in the year that I think that they would have wanted if you talked to them at the beginning of the season.
Sure, yeah. Dixon, Award, McLaughlin, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, McLaughlin almost looks like he's on his way out the door at Penske, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who Penske likes to replace him, but, you know, Santino's there in the point car.
He hasn't done shit this year either.
No. Colette. Who knows? I mean, Penske used to be pretty hot on VK. And VK, my understanding is, although not officially announced, he will be staying with UCOS for next year to help them kind of build on what they've got going. So,
but with Lundgaard making a run at the 9, you wonder if Penske might try to entice that deal a little bit and say, hey, you know, we might be able to offer you a little bit more, especially if Lundgaard has not finished signing the ink yet. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Because that's not officially set yet. You know, like a lot of times they'll have those deals already done, but they haven't announced it yet.
Yeah,
so
but McLaughlin's not in a contract here though. He's contracted through 27, I think.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean you can't break a contract, but
we all know how good contracts are in IndyCar.
Yeah, Palou will tell you all about it.
Sorry.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about NASCAR. NASCAR was in New Hampshire. All right, and we had did you guys get a chance to watch?
I watched the highlights. I watched the highlights.
The highlights, okay.
Yes, I did.
So interesting enough, we started the race on rain tires. It wasn't raining, but the track was quite wet. And this is
they moved
rain
it up.
Rain tires on an oval on a wet track is something that's absolutely foreign to your NASCAR old timers. But, you know, over the past couple of years, they've been testing rain tires and with the thought of running ovals with the wet track or light rain, you know, on some of these shorter, flatter tracks. And I know Richard has done a lot of the testing with the tires. He was there at Martinsville. They had sprinklers that were sprinkling the track. And so, but we got to see them in action there, at least for the first half of the first phase until the track dried out. Everybody started on the wet tires. We saw a couple guys get a little squirrely out there. I think Reddick lost it, spun it around pretty good.
We also got to see Carson Hocevar make an ass of himself.
Oh,
yes, we'll get into Carson Hocevar in a little bit.
Yes.
Listen.
But at the end of the day, he's not your favorite. That's okay.
No.
Bubba Wallace went from 23rd to 2nd. So
did he really?
Bubba had a really
for
good
Bubba,
day.
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a heck of a day.
Could have won the thing, except he he got a little high in the last, you know, they lost some ground.
Yeah, got high and got a little bit loose and just enough. It wasn't anything that was
lost about 3/10 to Blaney where he couldn't catch him back up.
Nothing that was a problem, but just loose enough that he had to take his foot off the accelerator just slightly, just to stay the car a little bit. And when he came back down, it was too late.
Lost some momentum,
Yeah.
But it was Blaney, you know, with the giant lobster, which is the only trophy given out in any sport that you can eat. So
they asked him what he was going to do with it, and he said he was going to put it next to the other lobster.
Yikes.
Yikes! So Blaney,
I mean,
Blaney
surely
having a good
they
day. As
eat
typically,
those,
typically Team Penske comes alive this time of year, and we've seen that with Blaney, his third win, Logano winning the prior week. But really, we
Hang
need
on.
to.
Whoever thought this was a good idea? Can you imagine sitting in the boardroom and somebody's like, I got it. Give them a fucking lobster.
A live lobster, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Wow.
Well, you know, Nashville has guitars. New Hampshire has lobsters. Come on now.
Yeah, Martinsville got the grandfather clock, you know. Could have
Now
something
that's
unique.
cool. I think that's cool.
Now, the funniest trophy ever was they had, I forget which track they ran it at, but they had the SpongeBob SquarePants 400.
Oh yeah.
And the
Yeah, I've seen that one.
There's a giant statue of SpongeBob was the trophy. So
yeah.
Yes.
But getting back to IndyCar for a second, the Freedom 250 trophies were pretty amazing.
Very cool.
It was it's a pyramid shape with the Capitol building etched inside it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 50 pounds, they said it weighs, right? So solid
That's why Kirkwood didn't lift it over his head.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about. So we're going into Daytona, which is the end of the regular season. So
5 hours for the chase.
Yeah, right now, all the guys, the first 13 guys are kind of locked in, right? And we got 16 people getting the chase. So there are 5 guys eligible for those 3 spots left, right? So we're talking at the top of the order, 14 is Bubba Wallace. He's 75 points to the good. Cindric, 44 points to the good. Van Gisbergen on the bubble right now, 31 points to the good. Which Van Gisbergen had a very good run at New Hampshire, by the way. Ryan Preece, 31 below the cut line, and Brad Keselowski, 66 points below the cut line. So these 5 guys mathematically have a chance of getting in that chase. So who's it going to be? You know, who? If you were to say 2 of these guys are going to be eliminated, Leroy, which 2 would you say?
Well, and that's the craziest thing, because, you know, Daytona is so wild, because you could be leading that thing with 2 laps left and finish in 17th place.
Sure, yeah.
Just because you get caught in the wrong line and end up all the way in the back. But as far as making it, boy.
It's a tough one, but if it was me, if you ask me, Ryan Preece sneaks his way in and bounces Van Gisbergen out. Keselowski, I think, is too far back, but Preece and Van Gisbergen are kind of right there.
That's crazy, because I feel like we haven't talked about Ryan Preece at all this year. That's pretty wild to me, how he's just like
quiet and get in.
Yeah.
Quiet and get in. Yeah, I could see. Yeah. There's just, I mean, again, I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be one of those stories where it's going to come down to the last 2 laps as far as the decision of who gets in and who doesn't with this. I mean, Daytona is so crazy.
Is this right? Keselowski would need a win?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But he need to get 70 points and some help to make it in. If he finished, well, okay, this article I'm reading says, look for Keselowski to be eliminated from the chase, possibly by the end of stage 1. So it's a long shot for him. So
yeah.
But I would, calculate it out. I would say Bubba Wallace at 75 points above, pretty safe. Cindric, if he finishes the race, he's good. If he gets knocked out early in one of these big ones, Cindric or Van Gisbergen, either of those guys could get knocked out. So, but realistically, I kind of see it ending just like that.
Boy, and Cindric really needs a good finish because he just has not had a very good year this year.
No,
as far as what he, so he really does need a decent race in Daytona, because he just has not been solid, and there's a lot of eyes on him right now.
Yeah. So there are. Cinder has a Daytona 500 to win under his belt, so he's pretty good on those return play races. So
yeah.
But let's look at our picks for Daytona. So Leroy, you went with.
Oh my gosh, we do like yes. Sorry, Joey Logano. Yes.
I'm in charge of remembering these picks for people. Jessica,
Blaney.
You went with Blaney because you digging that mustache. He looks more and more like the guy from My Name Is Earl every day.
Blaney's been hot, man. Blaney's been so good lately.
Blaney's on fire. That's a good pick, Jess.
Yep.
Richard chose Wallace, Bubba Wallace, who's also been on a pretty good run. He had a great run in New Hampshire. Like you see, he could have won that race. Now, I was thinking that, sometimes these restrictor play races reward boneheaded moves if you could pull them off, bonsai moves. So I went with Carson Hocevar.
Speaking of boneheaded moves.
Just so I could hear Jessica say, ew, gross.
Gross.
Sorry, Carson. Should I beg? Yeah. Look, you've got to win one for me. It's funny.
Yeah,
I've got
do it. Hey, that works sometimes.
I've got zero IndyCar picks right this year. I think I've got 3 Formula Ones and 4 NASCARs, and I think 2 of the NASCARs I got are Blaney.
Wow. Yeah. F1 frustrated me because my driver should have won F1 if they didn't have to follow stupid team orders. My driver would have won, but team orders went through, and my driver had to shuffle.
All right,
back
so we'll talk about the Dutch Grand Prix.
Gross.
And I don't know that George Russell would have won because there were no.
I'm going to fight it. I'm telling you,
there were no team orders from Lando Norris to get out of the way. So anyway, so Dutch Grand Prix, Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix. Everybody there decked out in their Max Verstappen colors to watch him crash on lap 2.
And I picked him. So, this is par for the course.
Yeah. Par for the course. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
And I picked Antonelli, who finished second. You picked Russell and Richard. Ding, ding. Richard gets one in the win column. He picked Norris to win. And it was, largely, the race was largely dominated by Kimi Antonelli, as most of the races have been this year. But that last segment, I'll tell you, Lando was just on fire. He was just faster. His car was handling better. Drove around Kimi Antonelli and drove off into the sunset. So
looked really good.
What were the team orders that you're so upset about, Leroy?
Oh, Russell was leading for a while, and because Antonelli's doing better in this, they made Russell go behind him because Russell was leading for a little bit, and they made him go behind. And as an IndyCar fan, as a first IndyCar fan and not an F1 fan, that's so bizarre to me because we just don't have that. We just don't have that in IndyCar. Like if as Scott said, and Chips never had those rules. We don't do that for us. So it's just bizarre.
You can race your teammate, just don't crash. Don't crash into your teammate.
Correct.
But Formula One,
correct.
And that's been
Zach
the
Brown,
case as long as I can remember. I remember. There are a couple of times where guys have actually defied team orders. Carlos Reutemann famously. He was supposed to move over, let Alan Jones win. He said, hell with that. Won the race and ended up leading the championship most of the year, only to lose it at the end. Didier Pironi with Ferrari bought team orders as well and beat his teammate Gilles Villeneuve. And neither of those guys finished that season. In 82, Villeneuve, of course, lost his life, and Pironi was in a horrible accident where he broke both of his legs, so neither of those guys finished the season. So,
well, if only he had followed the team orders, might have gone differently.
This is the thing, okay? If you really want to, it's funny because we've been talking about Villeneuve lately. At the next race, he was pissed at Pironi for not following the team orders, right?
I bet.
And he was out there doing everything he can to set a faster qualifying lap than Pironi. And he was driving like a madman. And then he come across a slower car, Bjelken Moss, and he just couldn't get out of the way because he was just flying. And that's the accident that killed him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he because he was so mad at Pironi for defying the team orders the week before and taking the win that he felt he should have had. Yeah, then he.
Yikes. I was just kidding. I didn't know that.
Oh, well, that's the story. Yeah. So.
Ew.
But anyway, so
life lessons, children.
Yeah. Follow them
careful
team
what you
orders,
wish for.
kids.
Yeah. So the big news in Formula One though is the AUDO.
The who? The what?
AUDO, you can make me remember what it stands for, but it's a program where they take they rate the engines, and then if you're so many % off of the top engine, you get to do so many upgrades through the year, right?
Gotcha.
So now, when they did this initially, they've got Red Bull as the top performing engine, right? When they reevaluated, they still have Red Bull as the top performing engine. Red Bull is saying, now, wait a minute. Look who's winning all the damn races. It's not Red Bull, right? So there's a few errors in this. The program is, number one, the engine evaluation is only for the internal combustion part of the engine. But when you make upgrades, you can upgrade the hybrid part of the engine. So obviously, Red Bull is losing ground somewhere, but they're not allowed to upgrade because they apparently already have the best engine. The number one rated engine. So they are hoping for another reevaluation to get a lifeline because Red Bull's winless this year, which is over the dominance they've had over the last couple of decades. If you go back to the Vettel days, they've been for a while they've been right there, and now they're not, and they feel like their hands are tied because they are not allowed to bring an upgrade. When Ferrari's brought an upgrade, Mercedes brought an upgrade, and Haas has brought an upgrade, and Austin's brought an upgrade, and so
does the does the governing body have to explain how they do that evaluation?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like Red Bull has a claim there, right?
I do. Yep, and Red Bull does too. So that's
I would imagine. That's weird.
Yeah. Other things. Antonelli's going to have a 10th-place grid penalty at Monza, and then Pierre Gasly is also there's a controversial penalty reversal that was involving him as well that they're going to be talking about as well. So there's some penalties that they're going to be discussing for
10 grid
the race.
For what?
I missed it. I'm not but I know they were talking about it over on my my F1 group. They were talking about his 10 place grid penalty. So
that's a lot.
Yeah. So the yes, I'll accept the cookies. Just accept all cookies.
I'll take cookies. Who's got cookies?
Cookies.
Right. So the ADUO is additional development and upgrade opportunities. I know we talked about it. I was trying to look it up. Every time I look it up, it autocorrected to Audi.
Yeah, no, that ain't it.
ADUO Formula One, it changed to Audi Formula One. I'm like, okay. But yeah,
that's what you mean, right? Right.
Okay, so I'm on racer.com looking at the headlines. And Verstappen to take on 100 go-kart drivers live on ESPN.
Yes, that's a big deal.
Yep.
He says he's going to beat them all.
100.
Beat them all.
That's interesting.
And he's going to talk smack the whole time.
I like it.
Yep, seems like fun to me. So
yeah.
All right, so there's no Formula One race to make picks for. We've made all our picks for the other races, so we are out of time. So I do want to thank you, Leroy, for
thank you very
coming
much.
back from all your
Thank
stories
you.
from DC. I want to thank you, Jessica, just for being your wonderful self. I want to thank our fine producer, Mr. Keith Hayes. Richard, I hope you're having fun off in Quebec. Keith needs to add something.
Yeah, you forgot to mention the major change next year to the Truck Series.
Oh, yes, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will no longer be the Craftsman Truck Series. Yep, it will be FedEx is hopping on board as the entitlement sponsor for the Truck Series, which is interesting because FedEx has been kind of scaling back their involvement with the Gibbs team, but I guess it's they still see the value in supporting NASCAR. And, probably for less than what it's costing them to take care of Hamlin, they can sponsor the whole Truck Series for the year. So,
but can I drive the truck?
If you'd like. If you'd like.
NASCAR also released their schedule, didn't they, today?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They
2027. They released their full schedule. Yep.
Yeah, we've been getting bits and pieces of it.
INDYCAR is talking about going to Brazil. INDYCAR has told their teams that they are to get ready for Brazil as well.
That's another hot rumor out there. And then another hot rumor is that Andretti Autosport or Andretti Global is going to Chevrolet next year. That one, I'll believe it when I see it because it seems like every 3 to 5 years we get that same, Andretti's going to switch to Chevy, and they haven't.
Never do.
But maybe they will this time. Who knows? That was coming from Marshall Pruitt on his podcast. But Marshall wasn't even in DC this week. He's been working remotely, so I don't know how solid his information is. So, but anyway, I digress. So again, I already thanked you guys. So let's thank our sponsors, ERA Racing Association, and I never forget the film Kaiser coming out. I want to thank Facebook Live, X, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Make sure you find us on socials. We're on YouTube, Drafting Pod. You can like and subscribe. Jessica's point to our socials. You can find us all on X. All right. You can find us on Facebook, Drafting the Circus page, or you can look us up individually if you want to. If you want to creep up and see what Leroy's been up to in his off time, you can do that. But find our pages, give us a like and subscribe. And to all you folks that tuned in tonight, thank you so much. And until next week, good night.
Thanks for watching Drafting the Circuits. Make sure to follow Drafting the Circuits on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. Drafting the Circuits is a Code Sinister One production.